The phone slipped from Vigo's hand, clattering onto the kitchen floor of his small Brooklyn apartment, as his mother's voice echoed in his mind. "You're not welcome at the funeral, Vigo. Not after what you've become." He stood frozen, the weight of her words crashing over him like a tidal wave, his chest tightening with a pain sharper than any he'd known since coming out 2 years ago. But then, an unexpected email pinged on his laptop, from Delta Airlines, the carrier he'd booked his ticket with, offering a compassionate upgrade that would get him to Atlanta no matter what, sparking a flicker of defiance in his shattered heart. Vigo paced the room, his mind racing back to the call. His grandmother, the one person in his family who'd always seen him for who he was, had passed away peacefully in her sleep at 87. She'd been his anchor, the woman who'd slipped him extra cookies during family gatherings and whispered encouragements when his parents' expectations loomed too large. Now, she was gone, and his own mother was barring him from saying goodbye because of his lifestyle choice. He grabbed his coat and headed out into the crisp New York autumn air, needing to clear his head before deciding his next move. He met his boyfriend, Jamie, at their usual spot in Central Park, under the old oak tree where they'd shared their first kiss. Jamie, with his warm brown eyes and steady presence, pulled Vigo into a hug without a word. "Tell me everything," Jamie said, his voice soft but firm. Vigo recounted the conversation, his voice breaking as he described how his mother had cited the family's conservative Southern roots, the church's teachings, and the fear of whispers among relatives. "She said it'd disgrace Grandma's memory," Vigo choked out. Jamie's face hardened. He'd faced his own share of rejection from a Midwestern family that pretended he didn't exist after he came out. As they walked hand in hand, defiantly, in a city that mostly accepted them, Vigo felt the conflict brewing inside. Part of him wanted to respect his mother's wishes, to avoid the confrontation that could sever ties forever. But another part screamed that this was wrong, that love wasn't a sin, and that Grandma would have wanted him there. Jamie urged him to fight it. "You can't let them erase you, Vigo. This isn't just about the funeral. It's about who you are." By evening, Vigo had made up his mind. He'd go, family be damned. But how? His ticket was non-refundable, and funds were tight from his entry-level job at a marketing firm. Back home, he reopened the email from Delta. It wasn't a standard promo. It referenced a new initiative for passengers facing personal hardships, complete with a voucher for a first-class seat and priority boarding. Skeptical, Vigo called customer service. The representative, a kind-voiced woman named Maria, explained it was part of their inclusivity program, triggered by a note he'd added to his booking about attending a family event despite tensions. "We believe everyone deserves to say goodbye," she said. Tears welled in Vigo's eyes. Strangers were showing more compassion than his blood. Packing his bag that night, Vigo reflected on his journey. Growing up in suburban Atlanta, he'd always felt different. Football games and church youth groups never fit. Instead, he lost himself in books and art. Coming out at 22, after moving to New York for college, had been liberating but costly. His parents cut off contact for months, only relenting with stiff, obligatory calls. Grandma, though, had secretly emailed him, sharing stories of her own youthful rebellions against societal norms in the 1950s. "Be true to yourself, darling," she'd written. Now, honoring that meant defying the family. The flight was early the next morning. Jamie drove him to JFK, their goodbye lingering with promises of support. "Call me as soon as you land," Jamie said, kissing him softly. Boarding the plane, Vigo felt a mix of anxiety and resolve. The first-class seat was a luxury he couldn't afford on his own, but it symbolized something bigger, that the world was changing, even if his family wasn't. As the plane taxied down the runway, he stared out the window, wondering if this act of rebellion would heal or destroy what little remained of his family bonds. In Atlanta, the humidity hit him like a familiar embrace. He rented a car and drove straight to the funeral home, his heart pounding. Pulling into the parking lot, he spotted his parents' minivan. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside, the scent of lilies overwhelming. Relatives milled about, murmuring condolences. His mother saw him first, her face paling. "What are you doing here?" she hissed, pulling him aside. I told you not to come. Vigo stood tall. Grandma would have wanted me here, and I deserve to be. The confrontation escalated quickly. His father joined, his voice low but thunderous. This isn't the time or place for your agenda, son. Leave before you cause a scene. Aunts and uncles glanced over, whispers spreading like wildfire. Vigo felt the sting of betrayal, his own flesh and blood prioritizing appearances over love. But he didn't back down. My agenda is just being who I am. If that's too much for you, that's on you, not me. The room fell silent as the minister called everyone to the chapel. During the service, Vigo sat in the back, tears streaming as memories flooded him. Grandma's laughter, her stories of civil rights marches. She'd been progressive in her quiet way. As the eulogies wrapped, Vigo approached the casket for a private moment. I made it, Gram, he whispered, thanks to some unexpected help. Leaving the funeral home, he ignored the glares, his spirit bruised but unbroken. This was just the beginning of the storm. Back at the family home after the burial, tensions simmered like a pot about to boil over. Vigo had followed the procession to the cemetery, standing apart from the group as dirt covered Grandma's coffin. Now, in the living room filled with casseroles and hushed conversations, his presence was an elephant no one acknowledged. His sister, Emily, the only sibling who'd stayed neutral, pulled him into the kitchen. I'm glad you came, she whispered. Mom and Dad are furious, but you did the right thing. Vigo nodded, grateful for her support, but the weight of the day pressed on him. That evening, as guests trickled out, the real confrontation unfolded. His parents cornered him on the porch. How dare you show up after we explicitly told you not to? His mother demanded, her eyes red from crying or anger. Vigo explained the airline's intervention, but it only fueled their rage. So now you're airing our dirty laundry to strangers? His father bellowed. This family has standards, rooted in faith and tradition. Your choices go against everything we believe. Vigo's voice trembled as he responded, My choices? Love isn't a choice, Dad. And if your faith can't include me, maybe it's the faith that's flawed. The argument spiraled, dredging up old wounds. His mother brought up his teenage years, claiming she'd seen signs, but prayed them away. His father accused him of selfishness, saying his coming out had torn the family apart. Vigo felt the inner turmoil intensify, guilt for causing pain, anger at their refusal to understand. I'm not here to fight, he finally said. I'm here to mourn Grandma. She accepted me. But his words fell on deaf ears. They demanded he leave, threatening to cut him off completely. Driving to his hotel that night, Vigo called Jamie. It was awful, he admitted, voice cracking. Jamie listened patiently, then shared his own story of a similar family rift. Sometimes you have to choose your own family, Jamie said. But don't give up hope yet. Inspired, Vigo decided to stay in Atlanta a few more days, hoping for reconciliation. The next morning, he visited Grandma's old house, now empty, sorting through her belongings as per her will. Amid boxes, he found a letter addressed to him. My dear Vigo, if you're reading this, know that I love you unconditionally. Don't let anyone dim your light. The letter ignited a fire in him. He reached out to Emily, who agreed to mediate a family meeting. At a neutral coffee shop, the four sat down, Vigo, Emily, and their parents. The discussion was raw. His mother admitted fear of judgment from their church community, where homosexuality was still taboo. What will people say? She pleaded. Vigo countered with stories of evolving societal views, mentioning support groups and progressive faiths. His father remained stoic, but a crack showed when he recalled Grandma's quiet advocacy for equality. Yet betrayal lurked. Unbeknownst to Vigo, his cousin Mark, a devout family member, had overheard the airport story and twisted it online, posting on a conservative forum about family values under attack by corporate wokeness. By afternoon, Vigo's phone buzzed with notifications. The post had gone viral in niche circles, painting him as the villain. Hurt deepened as relatives texted condemnations. How could Mark do this? Vigo vented to Jamie over video call. Jamie, ever the optimist, suggested countering with truth. Share your side, but from the heart. Vigo hesitated, weighing the risks. Posting publicly could escalate the family divide, but silence felt like surrender. He drafted a social media update, detailing Grandma's acceptance and the airline's kindness, without naming names. It garnered supportive comments from friends in New York, but also hate from strangers. The internal conflict raged. Was visibility worth the pain? That night, alone in his hotel, Vigo questioned every decision. Coming out, attending the funeral, fighting back. The next day brought a surprise. A call from Delta's PR team. They'd seen the online buzz and wanted to feature his story in their inclusivity campaign. Anonymously if preferred. Flattered but wary, Vigo agreed to think about it. Meeting Emily again, she revealed their parents were wavering. Mom had attended a PFLAG meeting secretly. Hope flickered, but so did doubt. As he boarded his return flight, upgraded again, Vigo pondered the costs. Strained relationships, public exposure, but also personal growth. Landing in New York, Jamie waited at arrivals, his embrace a balm. You survived, he said. Vigo smiled weakly. But at what price? Their relationship, tested by distance and drama, felt stronger, yet shadows lingered. Weeks passed, and the ripple effects of the funeral lingered like a persistent fog. Back in Brooklyn, Vigo threw himself into work, but the online backlash haunted him. Trolls messaged threats, accusing him of forcing an agenda on grieving families. He confided in Jamie, who suggested therapy. You've been carrying this alone too long, Jamie urged. Vigo relented, starting sessions with a counselor specializing in LGBTQ+ issues. There, he unpacked layers of internalized shame from his upbringing, realizing how deeply societal prejudices had scarred him. Meanwhile, in Atlanta, family dynamics shifted subtly. Emily reported that their parents had argued fiercely after his departure. Mom was reading books on acceptance, influenced by Grandma's letter, which Emily had shared. Dad, however, doubled down, attending more conservative church events. The divide widened when Mark apologized privately to Vigo via text, admitting jealousy over Grandma's favoritism. I was wrong, Mark wrote. Vigo forgave him tentatively, but trust was fractured. A turning point came when Jamie proposed a weekend getaway to the Hamptons. Amid beach walks and quiet dinners, they discussed their future. I want to build a life with you, Jamie said, his eyes earnest. Vigo felt a surge of love, but fear crept in. Could he commit fully with his family's shadow looming? That night, under the stars, they shared vulnerabilities. Jamie's past heartbreak from a closeted ex, Vigo's dread of ultimate rejection. The intimacy deepened their bond, but Vigo's indecision about the Delta campaign weighed heavy. Back home, Vigo decided to participate, hoping it would inspire others. The airline's video, filmed discreetly, went live. A narrated story of compassion amid prejudice, with Vigo's voiceover. Views climbed, drawing media attention. A local news outlet interviewed him, amplifying his message. Support poured in: letters from queer youth facing similar struggles, donations to LGBTQ+ charities in Grandma's name. But so did hate mail, including from distant relatives. His mother called, voice strained. This is humiliating us. Please stop. The call ignited another clash. Humiliating? Try living in hiding, Vigo retorted. She hung up, but days later, Emily revealed Mom had defended him at church, sparking a debate. Progress, albeit slow. Vigo's therapy sessions delved into moral dilemmas. Was exposing family pain ethical? The counselor posed. Sometimes, truth is the only path to healing. Inspired, Vigo organized a support group meetup in Brooklyn, connecting with others navigating family estrangement. Jamie's job transfer to San Francisco added new tension. It's a promotion I can't pass up, he explained. Vigo felt betrayed. Why now, amid his turmoil? Arguments ensued. You're abandoning me when I need you most, Vigo accused. Jamie countered. This could be our fresh start. Come with me. The proposal forced Vigo to confront his attachments. To New York, his job, the unresolved family issues. Moving meant leaving behind the safety net of friends, but staying risked losing Jamie. Weighing options, Vigo flew to Atlanta unannounced. Confronting his parents at home, he laid bare his hurt. I love Jamie, and he might move away. If I go, I lose you forever. His father surprised him. We've been wrong, son. Your grandma's passing opened our eyes a bit. It wasn't full acceptance, but a start. Dad admitted attending a seminar on biblical interpretations of love. Mom hugged him tearfully. We miss you. The visit ended with tentative plans for a family therapy session. Returning to New York, Vigo shared the breakthrough with Jamie. They're trying, he said. Jamie beamed. See? Change is possible. But as they celebrated, Vigo's phone rang, a reporter digging into the airline story, uncovering Mark's original post. Sensational headlines followed. Gay man's funeral feud sparks national debate. Privacy invaded, Vigo felt violated. The price of visibility, constant scrutiny. In therapy, he grappled with regret. Had his decisions amplified pain? Yet, emails from inspired individuals affirmed otherwise. Balancing personal cost with societal impact became his daily struggle. As winter blanketed New York, Vigo's life accelerated toward critical choices. The media frenzy subsided, but its aftermath lingered. Invitations to speak at LGBTQ+ events, offers from advocacy groups. He accepted a panel at a conference in Chicago, sharing his story alongside others. There, he met Ryan, a charismatic activist whose passion mirrored his own. Their conversations sparked intellectual connection, but Vigo remained loyal to Jamie, using the encounter to reflect on his relationship. Jamie's move loomed. He'd accepted the job, set for spring. Join me, he pleaded during a tense dinner. Vigo hesitated. What about my family? They're finally opening up. The argument escalated. Jamie accused him of prioritizing blood over love, Vigo of selfishness. Hurt words flew. Maybe we're not meant to be. They parted angrily, the first real crack in their foundation. Alone, Vigo dove into work, but distraction led to mistakes. His boss noticed, suggesting time off. He used it to visit Atlanta again, attending the family therapy session. The therapist facilitated raw dialogue. Parents admitted fears rooted in upbringing. Vigo his resentment. Breakthroughs emerged. Dad shared a story of a gay uncle shunned in the 70s, regretting his silence. Mom vowed to educate their church friends. Yet, mending took time. Old habits resurfaced in subtle judgments. Back in Brooklyn, reconciliation with Jamie faltered. A week of radio silence ended with Jamie's call. I miss you, but I need commitment. Vigo, torn, sought advice from his support group. Peers shared tales of similar crossroads. Some chose love, others roots, all paid prices. Inspired, Vigo proposed a compromise. Long distance for now with visits. Jamie agreed reluctantly, but tension simmered. The Delta campaign evolved into a partnership. Vigo became an ambassador, traveling for events. In Seattle, he faced a protest from conservative groups, chanting slurs. Security escorted him away, but the fear lingered. Had he invited danger? Therapy explored this. Advocacy demands sacrifice, the counselor said. Vigo weighed if the awakenings he sparked outweighed personal risk. A betrayal blindsided him. Emily confessed she'd leaked details to Mark initially, hoping to force family unity. I thought it'd make them see, she sobbed. Vigo felt shattered, sibling trust broken. You chose sides against me, he said, hanging up. The fallout isolated him further. Parents sided with Emily, calling his reaction overdramatic. Reeling, Vigo confided in Ryan from the conference, their friendship deepening via texts. Ryan's empathy tempted emotional reliance, blurring lines. Jamie sensed it during a visit. Who's Ryan? Jealousy flared, leading to accusations. I'm fighting for us, and you're flirting? Jamie stormed out. Vigo chased him, admitting vulnerability. I'm scared of losing everything. They reconciled passionately, But seeds of doubt grew. Deciding to move with Jamie, Vigo informed his family. Reactions mixed. Mom supportive, Dad withdrawn, Emily apologetic. Packing boxes, Vigo reflected on trade-offs. Leaving New York meant new beginnings, but abandoning fragile family progress stung. The move to San Francisco symbolized rebirth, yet carried the weight of what-ifs. Settling in, Vigo adapted to the vibrant queer scene, but homesickness hit. A call from Mom revealed Dad's health scare. A minor heart issue, stress-related. Guilt gnawed. Had his actions contributed? Rushing back to Atlanta, he found Dad reflective. Life's too short for grudges. The visit mended fences, with Dad attending a Pride event virtually for the first time. Returning to Jamie, Vigo proposed. Let's make this official. Jamie accepted, joy overshadowing past pains. But as wedding plans began, societal pressures resurfaced. Finding an inclusive venue, navigating family invites. Planning the wedding became a battlefield of emotions and ethics. Vigo and Jamie opted for a small San Francisco ceremony, inviting select friends and family. His parents agreed to attend, a monumental step, but conditions attached. No overt displays to avoid discomfort. Vigo pushed back. This is our day, not a compromise. The negotiations strained relations anew, highlighting ongoing prejudices. Emily, seeking redemption, offered to help organize. Skeptical, Vigo accepted cautiously. During a video call, she shared her own awakening, volunteering at a LGBTQ+ center. I was wrong, she admitted. Forgiveness came slowly, but it healed old wounds. Meanwhile, Ryan congratulated them, but his lingering flirtations prompted Vigo to set boundaries. We're just friends. Societal backlash reared again when a wedding vendor, upon learning it was a same-sex event, refused service citing religious beliefs. The rejection stung, echoing family rejections. Vigo and Jamie filed a complaint, turning it into advocacy. Media coverage highlighted discrimination laws. Support swelled, but so did threats. Anonymous calls warned of consequences. Security became a concern, the price of visibility steep. In therapy, Vigo dissected moral quandaries. Sue the vendor or let it go. Justice requires action, he decided, proceeding with legal aid. The case gained traction, dividing opinions. Some hailed them as heroes, others villains. Family weighed in. Dad supported quietly. Mom worried about publicity. The stress tested Jamie's patience. Is this worth it? Arguments flared, revealing cracks. Jamie's career demands clashed with Vigo's activism. A pre-wedding trip to New York rekindled memories. Visiting Central Park, they reaffirmed vows privately. But a surprise encounter with an ex of Jamie's stirred jealousy in Vigo. Old flames? He teased, masking insecurity. Jamie reassured, you're my future. The moment underscored trust's fragility. As the wedding neared, Vigo's parents arrived early. A family dinner exposed lingering tensions. Dad's awkward questions about roles. Mom's forced enthusiasm. Yet, breakthroughs occurred. Dad toasted to love in all forms. Tears in his eyes. Emily gifted a photo album including Grandma's letter, symbolizing continuity. The ceremony was beautiful, ocean views, vows exchanged with raw emotion. Through betrayals and awakenings, I choose you, Vigo said. Guests cheered, but absent relatives' empty seats reminded of losses. Honeymoon in Hawaii brought bliss, but news of the vendor lawsuits when interrupted, victory bittersweet, as it alienated conservative kin. Post-wedding, life stabilized. Vigo scaled back advocacy, focusing on their home. But a call from Atlanta shattered peace. Mark had outed a cousin publicly in retaliation, claiming family hypocrisy. Chaos ensued. Relatives blamed Vigo's influence. You started this, an aunt accused. Guilt resurfaced. Had his visibility enabled harm? Confronting Mark, Vigo demanded accountability. Your actions hurt innocence. Mark lashed out. You paraded our drama. I just followed suit. The exchange forced Vigo to examine his role. Had pride in advocacy blinded him to collateral damage? Therapy helped navigate. Change is messy, Own your part. Vigo apologized to affected family, fostering dialogues. Jamie supported, "We're in this together." Their bond, forged in fire, emerged stronger. Yet, doubts persisted. As they built a life, Vigo pondered if full acceptance was illusory, or if persistent effort could bridge divides. Years unfolded, weaving triumphs and trials into Vigo and Jamie's tapestry. Their San Francisco home became a haven, hosting gatherings for queer friends and allies. Vigo's book on his journey, titled Uninvited Mourner, became a bestseller, inspiring documentaries. But success amplified scrutiny. Conservative media painted him as a disruptor of tradition. Threats escalated, prompting security measures. The cost of truth-telling. Family relations evolved unevenly. Parents visited annually, growing comfortable with their life. Dad even marched in a pride parade, a quiet revolution. Emily started a family of her own, instilling inclusive values. Yet, rifts with extended kin persisted. Some cut ties permanently. Vigo mourned those losses, therapy revealing grief's layers. Jamie's career soared, but it demanded travel, straining their marriage. Loneliness crept in during absences, tempting Vigo toward old habits. Late-night chats with Ryan, now a distant friend. A near-miss emotional affair forced confrontation. "I'm struggling," Vigo confessed. Jamie, hurt but understanding, suggested couples counseling. There, they unpacked resentments. Jamie's jealousy of Vigo's fame, Vigo's fear of abandonment. Recommitment followed, with renewed date nights and shared goals. A pivotal moment came when they decided to adopt. Navigating the process as a gay couple exposed systemic biases, agencies' subtle discriminations, birth parents' hesitations. They persevered, welcoming baby Mia after 2 years. Parenthood shifted priorities. Activism took a backseat to diaper changes and lullabies. Family rallied. Parents doted as grandparents, Emily as aunt. But societal stares in parks reminded of ongoing battles. Mia's first birthday coincided with a family reunion in Atlanta. Tensions flared when Mark attended, uninvited. Old grudges surfaced. "You've changed everything," Mark accused. Vigo responded calmly. Change was inevitable. Hiding perpetuated pain. The exchange led to uneasy truce, with Mark admitting his own suppressed identity struggles. Awakening dawned. Perhaps the cycle could break. As Mia grew, Vigo reflected on his path. The airline's initial kindness had sparked a chain reaction. Defiance, exposure, healing. Yet prices paid were steep: fractured bonds, emotional scars, public vulnerability. In quiet moments, he questioned decisions. Had attending the funeral been right or selfish? Therapy affirmed, right and wrong blur in matters of heart. Their story inspired others. Vigo mentored queer youth, sharing lessons of resilience. Jamie, ever supportive, co-authored articles on inclusive parenting. Life's rhythm stabilized, but echoes of past conflicts lingered, fueling growth. One evening, watching Mia play, Vigo turned to Jamie. "Was it all worth it?" Jamie smiled. "Every scar led here." Vigo nodded, embracing the complexity. In the end, was denying family expectations a betrayal or the ultimate act of self-love?